Welcome to this explainer. Look, today we are unpacking what I can only describe as a cinematic journey, going from having absolutely nothing, zero, to commanding a 10-figure net worth. But right off the bat, I need to be super clear with you. This is definitely not some step-by-step how-to guide for getting rich. Instead, I want you to consider this a warming, a deep dive into exactly what is often lost along the way to the very, very top. You know the story, right? We've all heard the traditional rags to riches hustle narrative 1,000 times. The grind, the sleepless nights, that fairy tale of pulling yourself out of the mud and just totally winning at life. But today we're asking a different, honestly, much darker question. What if the summit is actually lonelier than the gutter? Just think about the two extremes for a second. On one side, you have the sidewalk. It's gritty, it's desperate, it's literal cold survival, where the physical elements are just constantly battling against you. And then on the other side, the penthouse. It's gleaming, polished, perfectly climate controlled, but as we're going to see, it is profoundly, entirely isolated. To really ground us here, we are talking about a $1 billion net worth. $1 billion. We aren't just talking about being well off. We are talking about astronomical, extreme success. I mean, statistically speaking, you literally have a better chance of being struck by lightning than naturally accumulating $1 billion. It's the ultimate financial victory. But to truly wrap our heads around the gravity of that 9-0 milestone, we really have to look at the immense hidden cost of reaching it. It demands this massive psychological toll that most of us simply don't see when we're just idolizing the end result. So let's break this down, starting with phase 1, the hunger. In the very beginning, your motivation isn't buying a luxury yacht or flying private. Not at all. It's just making sure you never, ever feel the physical sting of hunger again. You're sleeping in cars, you're crashing on benches, and you are absolutely terrified of tomorrow. And the person going through this, they convince themselves these actions are just temporary sacrifices. You're staring at a laptop screen at 3 a.m., downing your 5th cup of coffee, treating every single hour like a life-or-death situation. Because frankly, to you, it feels like it is. You burn bridges to move faster. You stop calling your parents, you stop seeing your friends, and you just completely neglect your physical health. You tell yourself, hey, it's just for a season, right? But actually, these aren't temporary trade-offs. They are the very first pieces of your humanity being quietly traded away for a seat at the table. Which brings us to phase 2, the turning point, moving from the sidewalk to the boardroom. Eventually, incredibly, all of that relentless, sleep-deprived risk-taking actually pays off. The corporate business scales rapidly, the deals get bigger, and you finally make that massive leap. Look at this trajectory. Day 1 is pure survival on the streets. By year 3, boom, we see the first million. By year 5, you're deep into intense corporate scaling and massive boardroom deals. And finally, by year 10, you hit it, the first billion. But here's the catch. As the wealth compounds at this astonishing rate, the very obsession that got you out of homelessness slowly solidifies into an inescapable cage. Because you see, you can't just flip a switch and turn off that primal survival instinct that fueled your entire ascent. Think about who you were at the base of the mountain. Despite having practically nothing, you could still sit down, enjoy a simple meal, and share a genuine laugh with a real friend. There was this raw, unfiltered human connection. But at the summit, now you're a billionaire, surrounded by people who, let's be honest, mostly just want access to your capital. The person you were at the base effectively died, somewhere between that first million and the first billion. You might look in the mirror and see this titan of industry, but all the color, the spontaneity, the warmth, it's been completely drained from your actual day-to-day life. And that leads us to phase 3, the reality of the summit, the true paradox of extreme wealth. You are a billionaire, but you're a prisoner. I mean, wow, you're a prisoner to the very machine you built to save yourself. Think about it. The ultimate motivation for getting rich in the first place is supposed to be freedom, right? That's the entire promise of the hustle. But at this altitude, the freedom you thought all that money would buy is revealed to be a complete illusion. Every movement, every relationship, every single interaction suddenly becomes a calculated liability. When you really look at it, you've simply swapped a cage of poverty for a cage made of solid gold, and the bars were forged from your own immense capital. It's wild to think about. You have the power to literally change the world, but you've entirely lost the power to control your own Tuesday afternoon. Just picture it, sitting at this lonely, insanely opulent dinner table. Sure, you're surrounded by executive assistants, household staff, heavy private security, but there's no family. There are no real friends. You've become the most highly managed person on planet Earth. Your schedule, completely owned by your advisors. Your physical safety, handled by pros. Your reputation, an endless, exhausting public relations battleground. The wealth absolutely isolates you from the simple human experience you fought so incredibly hard to secure in the first place.
So we have to look closely at the true cost of success.
When you step back and observe this whole cinematic arc, you realize something profound. Most people, naturally, failed to get the money. It's an incredibly rare feat. But the bitter irony is that the ones who do succeed in getting the money often completely fail at actually living. Maybe, just maybe, the real American dream isn't about hoarding billions of dollars at the cost of your very soul. Actually, scratch that. It's more like true success is simply about having enough to be free without losing yourself in the process. It's about securing your freedom, your comfort, and your peace without sacrificing your core identity to the relentless, grinding machine of the hustle. So I'll leave you with this final provocative thought from our explainer today. What is enough? If the hidden cost of reaching the absolute summit is completely losing the person you were back at the base, is the climb still worth it? Think about that the next time you find yourself glorifying the relentless grind. Thank you so much for joining me, and keep questioning what success truly looks like for you.